To Celtic, who angered some of their fans over the weekend by claiming that throwing money around is not a sustainable route to success. It was part of a statement defending their transfer policy after some of their major signings this summer arrived after the club failed to reach the Champions League. To unpick it all, we're joined by Paul John Dykes from a Celtic State of Mind podcast. Paul, the statement was over 1,000 words long. Did it just need to be one word? Sorry.
That would have been a great start, wouldn't it? There was absolutely no contrition whatsoever within that statement. And the Celtic board came out and one person described it as tipping a can of paraffin over a blazing bin fire. And I think that was an apt description. They took no responsibility for any of their own failings. It was everyone else's fault, from UEFA to fans on social media. So, yeah, absolutely, one word, and that word being sorry would have been a far better statement.
Yeah, once you start blaming the fans, that doesn't ever go down too well. It's been described as a PR disaster. Celtic have showed their displeasure with the board. I know there was a protest banner, wasn't there, at their last home match, which we can see now, against Livingston. Do you go along with that? Zero ambition, neglect team?
Without a doubt, and it's not just knee-jerk after one Champions League exit. You know, this has been ongoing. A Celtic State of Mind, we've been discussing this for 8 years. We are never prepared for the qualifiers. We've been knocked out at that level of the competition 7 times out of 9 attempts. That's simply not good enough. And then we do our business after we've been knocked out. So if the 3 players that we've brought in since being knocked out of the Champions League were on our radar, why didn't we sign them before being knocked out by Kairat?
Well, I mean, I know that you were among those who signed an open letter to the club voicing your displeasure. Why did you feel that you had to take that action?
The big thing for us, certainly on a Celtic State of Mind, is that your voice doesn't seem to be heard. Now, many of us may not be shareholders at Celtic, but we're certainly stakeholders, season ticket holders, people who are constantly putting money into this football club. Yet, when you read the tone of that particular statement that the club sneaked out on Saturday night, it was condescending. It was talking down to the fan base. It was saying, you know, we know what we're doing. No one was asking them to throw bad money at transfers, but we have something in the region of £100 million in the bank. We have not replaced quality on the park, and the stadium needs huge reinvestment, and they simply do not engage to the level that they should with the fan bases. And I think that's all coming to the fore now. Yeah,
I know there was a vote of no confidence in the board submitted by the Celtic Supporters Association after meeting the club and that statement as well. But Paul, I know you said this isn't a knee-jerk reaction. Can you just explain to people outside of Glasgow or even outside of Scotland why that's not the case? Because from the outside, you do look at 13 of the last 14 league titles, and you know why.
I totally understand that from the outside looking in, because we are dominant in the Scottish game. But I think it comes to the point where, what is your ambition? What is your vision for the club? Well, the first issue is they don't tell us what their ambition is. We don't know what the club's vision is for the next 3 to 5 years because it's not communicated with fans. But also, I'm going to go back to the Champions League endeavours and look at this season along with the other 6 exits from that stage of the competition. That's simply not good enough. Celtic should not be getting knocked out against Kairat, all respect to the football club themselves. But it's not the first time it's happened. It's been over and over again, the same issues, you know, going into this competition unprepared, trying to get the business done after we've been knocked out. And then again, you know, just feeding tabloids in Scotland with hit stories on the manager, following that up with this PR disaster. They have gone from one to the next, one big mistake to the next, and the fans now have come together. There's a fan movement, and the club needs to realise that.
Well, tell us more about Dyson Maeda, because he's told the club that he wanted to leave this summer, and he could well go in January. How concerning is it for you, once you're at a club like Celtic, it's quite rare that you see somebody publicly saying that they want to leave. And he's been there a few seasons, and this hasn't happened before. So how much does that worry you as a fan?
It's always a worry when you lose quality. It absolutely is. But when you look at the cycle of Dyson Maeda and his time at Celtic, last season was astonishing. He was our best player by a country mile. But he has been at the football club now for a number of seasons. And we, as fans, I think, appreciate that there is a cycle and players come to the end of that cycle and we move them on. Now, that's normally can be offset by bringing in quality every transfer window, because someone else will be coming up to the point where they can step in for Dyson Maeda. We shouldn't be in a situation where we can't sell a player who wants to leave because we don't have the quality in the door. And that's what happened with Dyson Maeda.
How worried are you about Brendan Rodgers' future? Because I'm assuming that you want Brendan Rodgers to still be your manager, but he could easily get a bit fed up, like the fans are.
There's a bit of chaos going on at the moment at Celtic. And as I say, there was a story that ran in the tabloid press last week, and it was from a source within the club. And unfortunately, it was criticising Brendan Rodgers. Now, what I would say is that if Brendan Rodgers was to leave of his own volition, I don't think many Celtic fans would blame him under the circumstances. I hope he stays. I hope he stays and he gets the absolute maximum out of the group of players he's got to work with, regardless of whether or not he brought them to the football club. We've got 3 tournaments domestically. We've got the Europa League to concentrate on now. We need to concentrate on that. The message is clear. It's all about backing the team, but challenging the board and asking the board for answers to the 7 questions that were in the open letter.
Well, let's end with that then, because when it comes to the board, do you expect them to now engage with the fans more after this, especially when it's been considered a PR nightmare? Or could the reaction actually result in it getting even worse?
They've got to communicate. That's a simple answer. When you look at the open letter to the football club, it's endorsed by around 400 different Celtic groups, be that Celtic supporters clubs, affiliations, associations, ultra groups, podcasts like A Celtic State of Mind. And that represents tens of thousands of Celtic fans who are saying to the board of directors, you've got to speak to us and we've got to improve this situation. So it would be, for me, it would be absolute carnage if they were not to respond to this. The fan group has come together, they've mobilised, they're going to be meeting this week, and we'll take it a step further after that.
Well, I hope for your sake that things can improve. Paul John Dykes from A Celtic State of Mind podcast. Thank you.
All the best. Thank you.